Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. It's kind of like anybody that, is really big into skill work, which was always a big part of my training as a player. And then when I started out in coaching, always led skill work and always demonstrated it and felt like I could build some credibility with that. And then there came a point when, I don't know how to do some of these drills that I'm showing them. And I don't want to look like an idiot and lose all credibility. So there is that point where you have to shift, like maybe less doing and more explaining. And actually, I don't think that's a bad shift for even younger coaches that can still do it to make it, because everybody learns in different ways. Some have to see it, some have to hear it, some have to do it. And we need to make sure that we are using all three of those modes with our teaching. So, Coach, I'm going to say that you and I not being able to do it much anymore, it's not the worst thing.
You're probably right. And it probably has made us better at getting it across.
No doubt.
But it was fun. Demonstrating was fun. I mean, I became a much better ball handler as a coach than I was as a player because I was always demonstrating ball handling. So that was kind of nice.
Early on in my relationship with Coach Garnett, when we were doing MG basketball camps together, I would just come in and do almost like a guest lecturer, like come in and just do ball handling for an hour. And then I'd leave. And this was early on in our relationship. And we were joking about over the years of me doing that, the amount of time I would demonstrate. Used to be I'd go for 20, 30 seconds in a drill. Then about 5 years later, about 15 seconds. And then I could give them a good 5 seconds in it.
But I'm not so sure because there are so many. And even Tevin, that's the young man I'm talking about. He does that for us now. He comes up with things that I had never thought of. It's quicker. X amount of time, move to the next thing, which I think probably in hindsight keeps the kids a little bit more engaged.
Yeah.
They don't get bored. And we know probably the biggest thing with the fundamentals, kids get bored of doing them.
Yeah.
So if you incorporate different ways to get them to do it, I think the better. So,
on that note, what's something that maybe you've learned lately or borrowed? Could be from coaching, could be from other, like what you just said.
Well, obviously we're not borrowing it because he's on staff. So the different ball handling drills have certainly been different for the kids, which I think is beneficial. But one of the things my wife used to laugh at me during March Madness, I'd have a notebook in front of me every game, and I've got half courts drawn up, and I'm looking at things that at some point might be able to use depending on the personnel that we have.
There you go.
And so, I'll never stop being a Roy Williams fan. So I'm a time secondary break guy.
Yeah.
We know what we're trying to do on the primary break, but secondary break, I want flow. I want it to go right into what we're doing. And so anytime I can see something, YouTube it, or see somebody do it in a game, I'm jotting it down. Our spring right now is something we didn't do at all. And we're playing games. We're in a spring league. We're going to get 12 games in the next 6 weeks, but none of it is what we did. It's all new stuff to see if it'll function against somebody else.
It's a good idea. Yeah.
And that's all the stuff that I've never been a big screen and roll guy, but now we are dabbling to see if it will have some benefit for us later on down the road. And so that's one of the things I saw a different secondary break on a YouTube video I just happened to come across. And so I put it in. Let's try this. We'll do this. And so everyone's used to the basic North Carolina break, which is the back screen, up screen from the block to the big at the trail spot, throwing the lob, and all the stuff that they do in between.
Yeah.
And then, so we probably have 10 different things that we don't do them all. But I've got them when I have say, Blazer playlist. So we'll have 10 secondary breaks, depending on personnel and what I think is going to work best for us that year. And then we'll settle on X amount, and then we just try and perfect it with that group. Then the next group might be something different. But the spring is for me to dabble. People don't understand when I say this. I'm more excited about now until November 10th. I am from November 10th through March 1st, because this is where I can try different things and try to get the kids to expand their maybe knowledge of, if they went out and played pickup games someplace, they have different things to maybe reach on, something in their toolbox they can use. So that's how I've always approached it as far as borrowing or stealing, however you want to say it.
Yeah. Greg White, he is a coach in Arkansas, I believe. I used to have stealing in that question, what have you stolen lately? And he said, Matt, words matter. Let's use the right words that we want. So borrow. But Coach, a couple things. One, want to celebrate you on 39 years into it, the excitement and the passion you still have for the spring and the development season. And the goal is for me and for any coach listening, like, we've got to keep that part of the fun, the spirit, maybe even like the wonder of what we get to do alive, because I don't ever want to I feel the same way. I don't want to get to a spring and go, oh, I just want to get through this time so we can get to the season again. This is a really fun time. You had a couple other golden nuggets about watching the tournament and jotting things down that you see. My phone is usually full of videos of the TV. I'll say, hold on, babe, rewind that 10 seconds, and I'll get my phone out. But you said a huge thing. You said, depending on personnel, you'll use things depending on if it works for you. That's the danger I think that we fall into. Like right now, I saw a tweet the other day, or an X post, I don't know what, the other day, a message that said, like, if you're thinking about running UConn's actions, don't, because you don't have, and then it was 7'2", 6'9" that can shoot, 6'7" that, went down the roster. I agree with that. But instead of thinking we have to take the whole, let's look for little parts, little actions that, because we do know our personnel, that we can do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm trying to find of course, Tristan Newton is an El Paso kid.
That's right. Yeah.
So, you never saw Tristan make a pass in high school, because that wasn't what he was called on to do in high school.
Yeah.
And to watch him, we played him 3 times. Actually, well, all 3 years, his sophomore, junior, and senior year, we played him at the total 4 times. But, I'm here to say we were 2-2.
Let's go.
So to see how he passes the ball now, because his role has changed and he's evolved as a player. And I think that's the biggest thing about UConn is their action. Yeah, they've got big guys, but I think it's more how I grew up playing, where there's screen set, there's reads off the, it's a set play, but the defense has to play it a certain way, and they can't play it every way.
Yeah.
As opposed to the big thing now is dribble drive. And I'm not saying dribble drive is bad. I just think if the other team's athletic, it's hard to really utilize it, because I think it takes athleticism. And maybe some coaches will disagree with that. But for me, I've only used dribble drive 1 year. That's because I had a 3-time all-region guard.
And Eh,
But the ball is yours. You get to go do and create for us.
yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll support you in that idea of dribble drive does work really well when you have some athletic skilled pieces to it. And we've been a 4-out 1 in or recently a 5-out dribble drive motion team. And I get that question, what do you do against a team that's bigger, faster, maybe more athletic? The honest question is answer is we might lose that game. I mean, because to your point, I don't know if there is a system that works 100% of the time, but you got to feel like whatever you choose gives your players, based on their athleticism that they have, their skill sets, it gives them a good chance to be successful. Because if it doesn't, that's where the frustration sets in.
Right. I mean, and that's all I preach in the springtime to especially JV kids as they want to try and move up. I said, you have to understand who you are.
Mm.
And we're going to try and get you to be successful for us. You have to be willing to buy into that. And it's a hard, long sell. When they buy in and they start seeing success, then I can't be like that guy because I don't have those kind of attributes, but I can be like this guy and I can still have success. And so, we've been fortunate over the last, 10 years, 10 straight playoff wins or years, 8 district championships, lots of district MVPs, all of them different kind of players. Because they bought into what they were capable of and they got good at it. And then we were smart enough to put them in the situation to have that success. And so, like I said, when I had the guard, we're going. We don't have the guard. Now we're a little bit more set play-ish, continuity, run until the defense messes up.
Yeah.
Get the shot we want. And what we have found, what I have found about, say, playoffs, El Paso's not out athleting anybody. We're going to have solid players, but we're not going to have a plethora athletic 6'3", 6'4" guys on the perimeter. That's just not what we have. And so we have to be a little bit more controlled, but can we do it fast? That's kind of the trick. Can we do it fast? I want to be controlled, but I mean, I like to shoot it. I was a shooter. I understand kids want to shoot it, but can we get what we want and how fast can we get? So that's what we try and preach.
Fast and out of control, not special.
No.
Slow and in control, not special. You and I can do that right now. Fast and in control, special.
I think kids defensively don't want to do that. They don't want to guard that. They want the quick steal. They want the quick shots because they want to be on offense. Well, one of the reasons we've had success is because we're not going to let you get on offense quite as much as you think, even though we want to score. But like I tell them all the time, I'm sure every coach preaches this. What's a good shot in the first quarter? Not a good shot in the fourth quarter. So we're playing. I used to tell when my son played, I had a really fast group. I say, you have to listen. We're going to run up and down and shoot it because that's all we can do is be having sides. But when we get ahead, come and get me. And went to a fourth place finish in district and 2 playoff wins against teams we had no business beating because we got ahead of them and then we controlled it from there.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're always trying to preach. Get ahead, make them play the way we want to play.
If the shot clock comes, how will that change that philosophy?
Well, I don't think we're taking that long to shoot it.
Okay.
But
you're saying is at that point, cross half court, 0 to 1 pass, you're probably not taking something there. You're going to run through your action, and if it's changes the floor a few times, 10, 15 seconds, 20 in, you're good with that.
Right.
Yeah.
And, now, if you want to get back to the shot clock issue.
I said it. I brought it up.
I'm anti-shot clock.
Okay.
Because my thing is this. I'm going to do everything I can to do to win.
Yeah.
If I have the ball and I'm ahead, why is it on me to get the ball back to you? You want it? Come get it. And if you can take it, more power to you. If you can't take it, we're going to shoot a lot of free throws.
That's right.
So then now, again, that's coming from a place where we're not gifted big athletic. We're maybe small athletic, but not big athletic. And my high school coach made this quote in the paper one time when we played 6'11", 6'8", 6'6", and our biggest kid was 6'3". Good big kids beat good small kids. And it's never going to change in our game because size matters.
Yeah.
And you have to give me, the coach that doesn't have the size, a chance. And I think that's what the shot clock doesn't do.
It'll definitely help the superior team win more of the time.
And that's how I look at it. And who's always advocating for it?
That's right.
The guys with all the talent.
Not the little guys. Not the little guys. Yeah, more possessions, definitely.
I need to get my kids ready for college. That's great. I don't have any college.
You know what? Like that's fair. Simply, we wouldn't see the shot clock very much. It wouldn't affect us. It would change us 2.5 to 3 minutes left in the game because, like you, if we're up 8 points or less with 2.5 minutes, depending on depending on our decision making in that time, we will pull it out and we'll hold it. We'd have to continue to execute down the stretch. And back to your point too, I think it's a great one because you see these videos of high school games. It's 4-2, 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and the team's holding it.
Right.
And they always get mad at that team, but they don't talk about the other team standing there in a 2-3. You're right. Like if you're frustrated, go play. Make them play.
And I will. I can honestly tell you, I don't think I'd ever stay up there and hold the ball like that.
Yeah, and that's not what you and I were talking about. But why do people say we need a shot clock? It's 98% of the time because of stuff like that.
They see that game.
Yeah,
I agree. And then they're going to blame the one team. They're going to always blame the one team.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a freshman in high school, our school won the state championship in basketball, and we were mad crazy pressers. Just had a good mix of kids. State championship game, 2-0 at the end of the first, because they did not want us to get the ball and be able to set up press.
Wow.
Now we end up, I think we won 30-24, but I'll never understand getting to that point, not doing what you've been doing all year. That's I'm the 1 year my son was a junior. Our tallest kid was 5'10", and we clawed our way to a 4th place finish in district. Won a play-in game to get that 4th place, and then our reward was the 1st place, team from the other district.
Yeah.
And we got ahead, and they didn't know what hit them. And then the next game, the same thing. Big kids. We got ahead, and then it's like, come and get it. And they couldn't do it.
Well, and if you could kind of remember back, what point in the game were you saying, we got ahead and then come and get us? Like, what were your...
Usually the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't, usually when I was young, I was and we had the ball at half. Say it was our possession at half. I was always 5-6 passes set because I didn't want anything to get going quick for the other team. So 5 or 6 passes, we get a shot, make or miss. At least we've had possession for 15, 20 seconds. They're not getting it so quick, and kind of get us almost like a warm up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quarter.
Yeah.
But I used to tell the kids, 7 minutes and 30 seconds of the first, second, and third quarters, knock yourself out. 30 seconds, we want the ball. We're gonna take the last shot. I'm a big believer in the last shot of every quarter. Keeps you from getting 2 in a row, and you're gonna get us 2 in a row at some point.
Those are big swings. Those are big swings.
You got to know it. And then in the fourth quarter, usually about the 4 or 5 minute mark, I start dictating whether we're going to get into a continuity, which basically will end up, we run a lot of chin with chin cuts, and you get lazy, boom, we'll take the layup if you're going to give it to us because you were not very good defensively. But just run. They finally understand what we're trying to do. They get a little bit more aggressive. Now we're attacking them with back doors or a drive with no help, that kind of thing. And then when it gets deeper in it, it's always spread, 4-corner.
Yeah.
And the kids always think we're trying to hold it. And we're not necessarily trying to hold it. We're just trying to get them so tired that we get an easy shot at the basket. And eventually what happens is they just start fouling because they know that's the only way they can get back into a game. So that's kind of my philosophy.
It makes a lot of sense to me. I think we're a lot aligned in that. I think the way that you explained why no shot clock, it does make a lot of sense. But I do want to, my goal wasn't to get on here. That's kind of like if I have a college coach and we start talking portal, I always feel like, what have I done? Like, they don't want to talk portal. I also we don't want to talk shot clock the whole time, but.
Right.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.